tornado is just to the east of Clark's Point with this storm, where the reds and greens are coming together here on the wind portion of Doppler radar. Let's make this a little bit easier to see. I'm going to take the wind and the Doppler radar off. We'll leave the warning boxes on there so you can see those. Just for bearing of peace of mind for myself here, let's put a storm track on this, moving it to the north and northeast at roughly about 40 miles per hour. Should be in Clayton at about 518, Greenville 529 if that storm can hold on. Again, that's just one of two storms here this late afternoon that have the potential to produce a tornado. The second, this one is near just to the west of Port Washington or east of West Bend. So far, monitoring the National Weather Service feed that I have available to me, I don't see any new reports of anything with this at all. Let's go in a little bit closer and take a look here with the radar. The storm that prompted the warning, this storm right here, which is now just south of Newburgh. I would say if you're in the Newburgh area, now is the time to get to your storm shelter. Remember, when it comes to a tornado, you want to be on the lowest level possible, away from any kind of windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as you can. A basement is always the best place to be. If you don't have a basement, you want to find the interior most part of your home, which is typically a closet or a bathroom. Again, put as many many walls between you and the outside as possible, staying away from windows. Don't try to see the thing in a situation like this. We go from the regular radar, switching back over to the wind portion of Doppler radar. Not seeing much there. Here's a different view of the wind part of radar. That gets a little bit muddled. I know you could look at this and argue there's something in here that's just noise, I believe. What we're looking for would be a little bit closer to County Road Y, just to the south of Newburgh. I believe, looking at this, if we had anything, it might be in this area here, which is just a few miles south-southwest of Newburgh by about 3 miles. So again, if you're in Newburgh or that greater area, heads up, this storm has the potential to produce a tornado. Let's take a look here at the amount of lightning on this as well. A lot of heavy rain, a lot of thunder and lightning going on. You can see this storm here to the south across portions of Washington County is pretty well electrically charged. Just highlighting that one for a second, we've got over 56 lightning strikes in the last 15 minutes or so. Let's take a look as a full count here across the area. You're looking at about 73 to 75 lightning strikes in the last 15 minutes. Greatest concern, though, is that potential for the possibility of a couple of tornadoes out of these thunderstorms. So here again, we'll reset the radar view. Two areas that we're watching. Let's clean this up a bit more. Here is the first one, and again, the Weather Service has two active warnings going on, which is why we have the overlapping of the boxes there. Looks like they've canceled that now. That's interesting. The Weather Service now has canceled the tornado warning for Winnebago County, despite a spotter reporting a funnel dropping out of that storm. So, as per the Weather Service, they'll keep a severe thunderstorm warning going until 5:30 this evening. Not sure if they saw something or had a different report out of that one, why they issued the warning and then promptly canceled it. I mean, I'm looking here just off to the side. They had that warning canceled within 10 minutes. That's a little bit unusual, so I'm still going to keep my eyes on that one. Perhaps something is cycling inside of that storm. Nonetheless, all aspects of a tornado put aside, there's still some pretty heavy rain, some thunder and lightning, and certainly some gusty wind with that storm as it heads toward about the Appleton area. Another report coming in now here, this from a spotter who says they did see a funnel cloud touch down and become a tornado. That was in Winnebago County at about 5:04 this afternoon near Highway 45, estimating where that touched down near the Skelton Bridge along Highway 45. So more warnings coming in from the Weather Service. So things are getting a little bit active here this afternoon. This is another warning coming in now. Let me get the radar back over and switched here. So we've got an active tornado warning now for portions of Washington County, and the Weather Service also issuing a new severe thunderstorm warning in the last couple of minutes for portions of Ozaukee, Sheboygan, Fond du Lac, and Washington counties. That'll go until 6 o'clock this afternoon. That's from this thunderstorm here, which is about to slam into West Bend. So heads up to those who are in the greater West Bend area between Jackson and West Bend. This storm doesn't look like it's going to produce a tornado, but you can tell the deeper shades of red that you have showing up on the radar. There is a lot of rain with this, and we've seen this happen a few times this afternoon. A great darkening of the sky, the rain just pouring out of those clouds, and also, as you can see, quite a bit of lightning with this as well. Let me just enhance the lightning for you here really quickly. See the lightning being enhanced there? There's a lot of window rattling going on with this thunderstorm, and no doubt some gusty wind as well. I don't want to focus too much on that because that's not the prime concern. The prime concern here is what's happening next door to that thunderstorm warning, and that is this part of the storm between about Newburgh and Decker Corner. This storm here has the potential to produce a tornado. I've not seen anything new from the Weather Service about that, and as fast as it came up, the Weather Service now has canceled the tornado warning for Ozaukee County, but allowing it to go, it looks like, for portions. Is this going to be through Washington County? It looks like they'll keep it going. They'll keep this going for northeastern Washington County until 5:30, it looks like, 5:45. So the newest update now, this information coming out very quickly here this afternoon. So they have allowed this to go out farther for Washington County until 5:45. They believe the most likely spot for a tornado is somewhere here between about Trenton and Newburgh. Let's take a look inside of this storm and see. I'm looking for some tight reds and greens together. I'm not seeing a classic bit of rotation. You could argue there may be something in this general area here, perhaps. So again, that's an area to keep eyes on. These may be just some brief spin-ups today, which would be somewhat of a good thing because they wouldn't last very long and they would most likely be very weak tornadoes if they do happen, which again, if we're going to get any kind of tornado, a brief weak one is what you hope for as opposed to something large and long-lived. That's not what we want to see here this afternoon. Nonetheless, the Weather Service continues that warning in place until 5:45. Let's reset where we are here on our radar pictures. So this is around West Bend, Port Washington, Auburn areas. We got a severe thunderstorm warning, potential here for some gusty wind over 60 miles per hour, and right next door to it, a possible storm that may be trying to produce a tornado. Farther to the north, it looks like the warning that was in place across sections of Ozaukee County, they have canceled everything there, it looks like. That's also the areas around Outagamie County as well. They've canceled, boy, they've really just issued and dropped several warnings in a small amount of time here between Oshkosh and Appleton. So I'm just reading all the information coming in from the National Weather Service. Winnebago County storm, yeah, it looks like it's gone. Spotters across the area here, yeah, they're canceling these left and right despite some spotters who've seen some things. So let's you and I both kind of reset where we are here at about 21 minutes after 5 this afternoon. So it looks like the only active warnings that we have now are in the southeastern part of the state. These are overlapping just a bit, so I apologize for that. You've got two warnings here, one being a severe thunderstorm warning, the other being a tornado warning. That for Washington County, including the city of Trenton, which will go until 5:45 tonight. Give me just a moment. I'm going to see if I can clean up what's happening there with those boxes that we have on the screen. Let's see if we can make that look a little bit better. There we go. That makes things a little bit easier to read and to see here. So again, two areas that we're watching in southeastern Wisconsin. The primary threat is a potential tornado warning here, or actually a tornado warning for a potential tornado across portions, extreme northeast portions of Washington County. Let's go ahead and drop off all that active information, bring the radar up to the current time. I'm telling you, if you're in West Bend right now, boy, the windows are rattling, the rain is coming down. It's going to sound like Armageddon, perhaps even some small hail with this as well. Let's take a look inside and see if we can find a hail core. Doesn't look to be overly impressive. Perhaps some small pea-sized hail with that. Let's back it up in time. There may have been a little bit of a core on there before it got to West Bend, so I don't see a big hail threat with that. So it looks like some big old fat droplets of rain coming down with this, a lot of thunder and lightning as well, and some gusty wind most likely as it blows through West Bend, heading toward about the Newburgh area. But still, that's where we'll keep our eyes this afternoon. The potential is there for a tornado around Newburgh. Weather Service hasn't given any more information on this storm, but these warnings came up in a hurry and they canceled a couple of them in a hurry. As of right now, this warning does remain in place. I want to check back out what's happening here around New London and Appleton. No active warnings, but if you're watching in this area, same sort of idea. You've got some pretty strong thunderstorms coming through with no doubt some very gusty wind and some very heavy rain and some thunder and lightning as well. Weather Service now reporting a wall cloud with the storm that's in Washington County. So far, no other reports, and it looks like the spotter is saying the rotation may be weakening. Let's go revisit that storm here. We'll step through our radar images. So the report just coming out now from Washington County spotters is they are seeing a bit of a wall cloud in this storm here that is just out ahead of what all's going on around West Bend and Jackson. So just to make sure we're clear, if you're in West Bend, Jackson, these areas, you don't have a threat of a tornado. If you're in Newburgh, it is a bit of a different story, as this potential part of the storm, this little hook you see in through here, may have some weak rotation in it, and it could briefly drop a weak tornado. Let's go in a little bit closer, take a look at that while we have you here, and just show you what's going on. Let's really get in nice and tight with this. If you're around this area or familiar with this area, some of this may look familiar to you. County Road M, County Highway Y, there is Newburgh as well. Let's flip over and take a look at the wind part of radar. I'm going to toggle between a couple different versions. Here again, I'm not seeing the classic reds and greens against each other, would show me rotation with this. Yes, I know there are red and green colors on here, but just analyzing this, it's not the traditional that you'd look for. All that said, if there were any kind of even weak rotation with this, it would most likely be in this area, which is just southwest of Newburgh. Let's go a little bit closer and see if we can put any actual roads on the map here from Newburgh. Newburgh's just a small little area here. So again, I'm sure not many folks here. We may have a couple of farmhouses rather, and whatnot in this area. No doubt some open country to traverse as well. Still, the potential is there for this to produce a tornado. Broaden the view out just a little bit more. If you're watching in Menominee Falls or Fox Point, you've got a little rain coming through your backyard. Nothing of great concern. The biggest issue we have is what's going on across West Bend right now. Some gusty wind with that part of the storm and a lot of thunder and lightning, and right next to that, the potential for a tornado. Let's reset the radar views here real quick for those who may be joining us as we head to about 25 minutes or so after the hour. This is the statewide view across Wisconsin, and remember, we cover pretty much 97% of the Badger State. So a lot of folks may be watching right now who have no active weather going on in their backyard. Others, the windows are rattling, the wind is gusting a little bit, and you want to know what's going on. We do technically have a tornado warning in place for portions of Washington County in southeastern Wisconsin that is set to go until 5:45 this evening. I have a feeling, though, the National Weather Service may drop that sooner than later. So just to give you some courtesy here of what's going on, let's tour the radar together, you and I. We'll take a look here at what's happening across northwestern sections of our state. This is your garden variety rain. I don't see much in the way of thunder with this. No concerns of severe weather. Southwestern sections of our state, there are a couple of stronger thunderstorms here around Dodgeville and even heading toward Madison. Nothing that looks severe at this point in time, but heads up for perhaps some gusty wind and no doubt some thunder and lightning. The real issue that we have is in the eastern half of the state. We had a couple of warnings earlier around Appleton and Oshkosh. The warnings for this area have been dropped, but you still have some pretty strong thunderstorms rolling through, featuring some gusty wind and some very heavy rainfall. Then the biggest area of concern that we have is what's going on to the south and to the southeast. That's where we have active warnings right now, including an active tornado warning for Washington County, which is set to go until 5:45 tonight. Stop the radar, bring you up to the current time. Here's where we are. Let's go a little bit closer, show you the areas here. Again, we keep talking about the same couple of locales, Newburgh and West Bend. The bulk of the heavy rain and thunderstorms now moving out of West Bend, heading toward about the Cheeseville area, toward Boltonville, Newburgh as well. This will eventually cross toward Port Washington and Grafton. So heads up if you're in those areas. You're going to get some heavy rain and most likely some gusty wind. The threat of a tornado has just diminished. The National Weather Service now canceling the tornado warning for Washington County as expected. So there is some good news. So if you are watching, listening, worried about a tornado, as of 5:28 here this evening, we now have no active tornado warning. So I'm going to drop that because we don't have any warnings to talk about. What we do have, though, is a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings, or one severe thunderstorm warning to talk about. That's going to go until about 6:15 or so tonight. And that storm, let me go ahead and highlight that here for you. It's this yellow box you see in through here. That is for Fond du Lac, Ozaukee, Sheboygan, and Washington counties, set to go until 6 o'clock tonight, another half hour or so from now. The main concern with that little area of thunderstorms moving through is going to be some gusty wind at about, we'll call it 45 to maybe 55 miles per hour. So that's where we stand right now. With no warnings for tornadoes, we will go ahead and scale our coverage back a little bit. If something new pops up, we'll be here to let you know. The bulk of these storms will continue to move their way east and should be out of the state in about an hour or so from now. We'll have some lingering garden variety thunderstorms. If anything else comes up, we'll be here to let you know about it on Spectrum News 1. Thank you for staying with us, and don't forget, we've got those weather updates coming your way every 10 minutes, and we do them on the ones. We'll get back to programming here in just a second on Spectrum News 1.